The highly anticipated U.S. Open will be lacking a very talented young star. Alexander Zverev has officially withdrawn from the Grand Slam tournament, and fans are devastated. But how'd this happen? He was fine a few days ago, right? In this video, we'll be taking a look at the player's fate in upcoming tournaments, so don't click away. Starting things off with how he was doing. The 25-year-old is ranked second worldwide in the tennis world and has a career worth talking about. It's very rare to have not heard about Zverev if you're into the sport, but here's a quick background check. He's considered to be the 2020 U.S. Open runner-up, where he lost to Dominic Thiem and reached the semifinals in 2021. Even though he doesn't have a Grand Slam title to his name, Alexander has won 5 Master Trophies and 2 ATP Finals. That stands for the Association of Tennis Professionals for the newbies out there. In total, he's won 19 ATP Tour titles in singles and 2 in doubles. Speaking of Grand Slams, the young player has appeared in 27 consecutive tournaments since his debut back in 2015. Do the math. He's been playing since he was just 18 years old. We don't want to make anyone feel bad, but what were you doing when you were 18? Oh, he's even a gold medalist when he played in the Summer Olympics last year. Being part of the Olympics in your early 20s is sports anime level behavior. We'd love to go on about the German player's achievements, but that would take up the entire video. So, at this point, you probably got the gist of it. But this fiery streak of his came to a very abrupt halt in his match against Nadal in the French Open. Now, what happened in the semifinal? Back in June, Sasha faced the legendary Spanish player Rafael Nadal in the semifinals of the French Open at Roland Garros. The match was very intense, but came to a short end when Zverev stumbled while chasing the ball behind the baseline. The second set to what could have been one of the most intense matches ever wasn't even over. Alexander, due to an injury, had to leave the court in a wheelchair. We then found out that he underwent surgery for 3 torn ligaments in his right ankle. Sounds painful. If you've ever dislocated your ankle before or even twisted it, you'd understand the pain the German faced in court. He was curled up and yelling at the top of his lungs due to the excruciating pain. You could also hear the tears from those screams because, at that moment, the young star realized 2 things. He'd have to forfeit the match when he was so close to the finals, and this will jeopardize the future of his career. He returned with crutches to greet the winner by default and was presented with a standing ovation by the crowd. Nothing but respect for the emotional player who has to face such an inconvenience at such a crucial time. But if you were against a professional like Sasha in the semifinals of such an important tournament, but won because your opponent faced an injury, how would you react? Personally, I'd be cartwheeling throughout the court in pure joy, but also being considerate to the opponent, of course. So, let's see what Nadal had to say to this. Moving on to Nadal's reaction. Tennis is no stranger to sportsmanship, and Nadal did what he knew best at Stade Roland Garros. It was his attack that had Sasha running left to right near the baseline, and as soon as his opponent fell over, Rafi went over to check up on him. In an interview after the match, the winner had nothing but praise for Zverev and expressed his empathy. He said how the German is one of the strongest players in the tournament and appreciated the effort he's put into winning a Grand Slam. But that's not all. Nadal also said that he expects the 25-year-old to win not one, but many Grand Slams in the future. A compliment like that from a legend like that? Is this how Mario feels when he gets that magic mushroom? If this were a movie, this would be the part where Alexander cartoonishly spins around and backflips onto the court, thanking Rafael for the kind words. But back to reality. The Spanish player's words were also cheered by fans because everyone was thinking about the unfortunate situation. Zverev may have lost the match, but he won everyone's hearts. It's clear that people are upset. Even his own brother said so, but everyone wishes him a speedy recovery. Now, obviously, Sasha will not be attending the U.S. Open, so who gets his spot? Next, we'll look a bit into his replacement. Stefan Kozlov has had an insanely lucky season. Earlier this year, he lost in the Mexican Open to Oscar Ott and thought all hope for the rest of the season was lost. In February, the 24-year-old went jet skiing and had a training session with Nadal later the same day. Now, the next 24 hours were so eventful, it changed everything. Keep up though, because it's a story that's easily unbelievable. First, Kozlov was stranded in the sea because of a problem with his jet ski and had to swim for around 20 minutes before help arrived. And during his training session, it was announced that Maxime Cressy withdrew from the Mexican Open and Stefan would be taking his spot. Now, stranded in the sea and reigniting your spot in the tournament, that's a lot to process. However, in a marathon match against Grigor Dimitrov, his legs began to cramp, causing him to lose the game. Looks like the universe said, "Hey kid, that's enough. Time for some bad news." But wait, Kozlov's career was about to switch up once again. The 24-year-old has been bestowed with good news. He'll now be replacing Sasha in the U.S. Open. Fans might not be happy, especially the diehard Zverev ones, but that won't stop the younger star from giving it his all in the remaining season. And lastly, what does this mean for Sasha's career? Although the U.S. Open will continue without the German player, how does this injury affect his career? Severe injuries to the ankle, like 3 torn lateral ligaments, require a few months to fully recover. We know Alex is getting the best help he can get from the top health professionals, perks of being a millionaire perhaps. But tennis players don't have any superpowers. They are human after all, and would probably need months to fully heal. real. Now, no one can say for sure whether Sasha's performance would be affected, but injuries usually tend to do so. No doubt he's a determined player and will be in top shape in no time. The unfortunate incident did affect his chances of finally winning a Grand Slam, but as Rafael said, Zverev is bound to win many more in his career. Other news. First, a fan is doing what to Kyrgios? Remember the Wimbledon final between Djokovic and Nick Kyrgios? The Australian complained about a certain member from the crowd and how she was drunk out of her mind. She got kicked out of the court because she was allegedly distracting him. Anna Pallas is now filing a lawsuit against Kyrgios based on false allegations that have harmed her reputation and caused much distress to her family. Whoa. Pallas said that millions of people read about the Australian's claims and she's not going to be quiet about it. Any damages recovered would be donated to charities, so she's not doing this for the money. She's satisfied with getting vindication out of this and says that these actions need to be addressed and he must be held accountable. Well, Kyrgios better hang in the sportswear and dust off the suit because he'll be attending a different kind of court soon enough. Also, Sasha isn't the only one out of the US Open. You heard that right. Joining Zverev will be the legendary Novak Djokovic. For reasons that are rather opinion-orientated, he will also not be appearing in the US Open. Why's that? Is it due to his recent back injury or something far worse? The Serb has had a strong voice against getting the COVID vaccine, and, you guessed it, he will not be allowed to enter the country without a vaccine. This pandemic really has brought out the worst of us. Not to be biased, but imagine sabotaging your entire career to not be safe from a deadly virus. To each their own opinion, though. Wrapping it up with the doped-up player. Although he's far from qualifying for a Grand Slam, Andre Martin tested positive in a drug test, the athlete's worst nightmare. The Slovakian player was found to have taken enhancements called SARM-S22. This is a synthetic drug that copies the actions of testosterone. It's also a selective androgen muscle receptor, but you don't need the biology lesson. Basically, taking this drug makes your muscles work more efficiently, and it seems like the 32-year-old failed to stop for a second and think to himself, wait, this is cheating. What am I doing? As expected, he's been suspended from any future games. And that's a wrap for this video. Phew, tennis is getting crazier with each passing day, huh? What are your predictions for the US Open? Let us know in the comments below. You know the drill. Hit that like and subscribe button to see more of our content. We'll catch you in the next one.